Hi guys, this is Bill from Spencer1984.com with another update to the Twister trucks. Now in the last video we skipped the ram body entirely, so this week that's where we're going to start out. So I've got the body just about ready for paint, I think. I've done a couple of primer and spot fill layers. You can see this is after its last round of sanding. And for the most part, I think it's in pretty good shape. There's a few spots on this side, especially right behind the door. Still need to work on those. But other than that, I think it's just about ready for the color coat. Now that's also going to be somewhat weather dependent because I've been in the area with high heat and humidity this last week, and even with the dehumidifier going in the hobby area, it's just been near impossible to do any real painting. Hopefully we're past that, at least for a little bit. Now, moving on to the chassis. The last of the touch-ups to the modifications is now done, and I've moved on to doing the detail painting. So I've got the frame rails, the axles, and the suspension painted gloss black. I've got the fuel tank painted a semi-gloss black to represent the plastic fuel cell. And I've started doing some weathering, especially up here in the wheel wells. I'm going to give the gloss black a little bit more time to dry before I start doing the dry brushing on that. I don't want to make it look as used as the Jeep, but Bill did not baby this truck, so I figure it should have some weathering on the underside of it. But that's going to be the next steps on this. And speaking of the light weathering, I've got the tires pretty much done at this point. I hit the wheels with a light wash and then dull coated those so that they look closer to the aluminum than the chrome that the plastic was cast with. Also modified the back sides of them so that they'd fit the axles. These are the fronts with the shorter stubs, and these are the rears with longer. I still need to put the wheel backers on them, but that's pretty well set. Also did a little bit of weathering, dry brushing on the faces to give them the white lettering. And I've got the other side done as well. So as soon as the paint is fully set on these, glue them to the chassis, that can go on its wheels, and then I can install the engine. Now, I did a little bit of cleanup to what was here, basically just squared up the lines on the transmission pan, squared up the lines on the intake manifold, and I wasn't sure what the previous owner had painted this with, so I didn't want to have incompatibility. I painted this with an enamel silver, and then I'll go back and I'll paint the block and the heads black. But again, with the humidity being what it is, enamel paints slow to dry already, are even extra slow this week. But that's in pretty good shape. And then the last thing on the Ram is I've got the interior just about done. I've got both seats painted and installed. I've got all of the door details painted. I've got the dashboard details all painted. I still need to add the CB radio, the gauge cluster, and the steering column. Did a little bit of detail work down on the floor, the rubber mat there, and a little bit of light weathering. Again, this is supposed to be a new truck. Did a little bit more weathering on the underside here. And if we line it up with the chassis, you can see that's about how that's going to look. And I think that'll work out pretty good. So that is everything for the Ram. But I also did a little bit more work on Joe's truck. I've got the wheels and tires fully finished and installed. I did have to put some spacers between those and the axle stubs, because I just wanted to make sure that it lined up with the edges of the truck body correctly. Also got the interior glued on. You can see I've got some weathering on the underside of this, and this kind of shows the difference between what this looks like and what the Ram looks like as far as how much wear and tear they've seen. And now I just basically need to do the same thing with the Jeep's interior. I can bring in the body. There's not been any change to this since last update, but now you can see what it actually kind of looks like on the wheels. And so that's how that's going to look. And so that's kind of where everything stands. Between the holiday and the weather, didn't have quite as much progress this week as I was hoping, but it's still got some progress done, so we'll call that a victory. So, next steps for the Ram. Want to get the rest of the chassis weathered, get the wheels on it, get more work done on the engine, finish off the interior, and hopefully get the body into some color. For the Jeep, the interior just needs a little bit of weathering, and then the final assembly. Need to do a little bit more work on the engine, but not a whole lot there. Then decal the body, and that's pretty ambitious, but hopefully doable in the next few days. We'll see how it goes. Either way, I will have another update next week. Hopefully, going to be back on a regular Thursday, Friday schedule. We'll see how that goes. Again, this last week has been a little bit weird with everything else going on, but hopefully be back on schedule next week. You can check back then, and thanks for watching.